What's up, everyone? Doing another thing, or well, another round of questions, which I'm more or less just doing two questions. But if anything, they're gonna be more long, if anything. So it's better just to do two. I had other questions, and I need to look for them. Well, not even need to look for them. I was looking for them, but I don't necessarily know where they went. Because I have put all of my questions in notes, but I thought I put them in a folder that was just called notes, not called notes, but the folder was called questions. But I'm assuming what I did is I put those questions in a different, not different folder, but a different like note category, and I have a bunch of them. So I'm probably gonna have to look for those if at all. I looked at half of them, or I looked through half of them and couldn't find them, but they were more recent. So I have no idea. I have no clue. But I want to say I had a few questions yesterday that someone had asked me, like a couple of days ago. So it's the fact that it should have been recent from my folder, but it wasn't, unfortunately. But anyways, and I wanted to get the question because I'm streaming now, and someone asked me a question, so I wanted to get that out. But well, at least I'll tell you the two questions. I'll repeat them when I get to them, anyways. But oh damn, where's my? I usually use my other phone, but it's currently doing something. Okay, the two questions is it hard to sleep, and how do you know if someone loves you? If how do you know if you love someone? Those are the two questions. So, for I just closed the notes just to open them back up. I did. But for let's just do the first one. But how is it hard to sleep? I'm assuming this really didn't. At least I was chatting with this person a little bit, so I probably should add more context to the question, just that I would know. But at the same time, the conversation we were having makes sense, or not even makes sense, but it's more like in my head, anyways. So it's fine. But I want to say, in the beginning, is it hard to sleep? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense of there are some days where I just don't. I'm spending more time looking at the ceiling or just kind of laying here with my eyes closed, hoping to eventually fall asleep and just never do. And then there are some days where I'll, fall asleep perfectly and not worry about anything. But it's more of a take and give, if I'm being honest. It's not as bad. In the beginning, it was horrible, but that's just obviously it's gonna be worse, of course. In the beginning, it was definitely hard to sleep, which is crazy for me to say out loud, just because I can sleep, in any environment, any sort of weather condition, anything. It doesn't really matter. I've slept through hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes. I've slept in like the rainforest. I've slept in deserts. I've slept. There's not many places I haven't slept that I'm not able to just fall asleep like wherever I'm at. It's so a lot of people have told me it's basically like a superpower that I have, but it is I don't know. It just kind of depends on the day, if I'm being honest. Not much the day, but more or less what my mind is kind of thinking of, not even thinking of, but what my mind is kind of up to for that day. Because there are some days where my mind is thinking about nothing, or thinking about like my game, or thinking about an anime that I'm watching, or my stream, or my streams, or Twitch or YouTube or TikTok or something like that. Usually, sometimes it just depends on whatever it's thinking about, or like if I hear like certain words, that like trigger certain memories. Like, are they good memories? Are they bad memories? Like, I'm gonna be thinking about them obviously, but are they going to, make me laugh? Or are they gonna make me be down? It's a slope. If I'm being generally honest, it's a slope to kind of figure out what is what. But is it hard to sleep? Yes, but also no. At the same time, it merely depends on whatever it is that I'm thinking of. Mainly, it's mainly just my mind of whatever my mind is thinking of that day. So I hope that answers that question. I hope that answers that question. Yes, I hope so. I don't know. Definitely message me if it doesn't, or if you need more like if that wasn't it, then definitely message me about it and tell me like, you know, this particular thing, or like this happened, da 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 da, or this thing that happened to you, da 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 da. Basically, give me like kind of paint a picture of it for me, so I can kind of understand where you really want the question to go. Because I'm thinking that's what you meant. At least that's what I think you meant with the whole thing. I think, I have no idea, but it is what it is. But that was the first question. Second question. Also, before I get into the second question, I don't really know if I want to do this, just because I don't even know, just simply because, like, I kind of get the idea that with the last group of questions I did, I don't know. I have a feeling that some people may think that like I'm writing these questions down just so I could talk about certain things. So my thought process on it was to basically, when I get a question from somebody, I write their username. More like, yeah, I ask them like, I either ask for like their name or like a nickname that they have, or like their username, or just something, something that's actually like something that actually shows that it's not me making these questions. Just because I've already talked about everything that I possibly could talk about, and have asked every single question and talked about it to myself 1,000 times. So I have no more questions to really ask anymore. Any other questions I've asked are just like cool, and that's about it. I don't really, go above and beyond about it, if I'm being honest. But anyways, but yeah, this is something that I might actually start doing. I don't really know. I don't know. If someone comments under one of the questions, or it's not even someone. If someone comments under one of these, like if someone comments under this video in particular and says like that's like to do that, I guess then I will. But I don't generally think I would. I don't generally think if no one says anything, then I won't. But that's just me. I don't know. I might not. I don't know. Just because asking somebody like, oh, let me put your name here, just people don't think that I'm just making this shit up or something. But then again, I made the video before. I also posted the short about the two people that I was talking to and everything. So it's there are people, obviously. They're real people, obviously. But I don't know. I'll figure it out, or I won't. I don't know. I'll figure something out, or maybe I won't. It is what it is. But anyways, second question, which the first question was only like 10 minutes long, but it is what it is. Or 5 minutes, I don't know. The second question, how do you know if you love someone? It's it's funny because like I know that, because like my whole dream for having like streaming on YouTube, streaming on Twitch, streaming on TikTok when I do, is more or less to get a big community. But I know the fact of my content is kind of springs a lot of like questions related back to my past that a lot of people, I'm sure, would have. So it is definitely something that I personally don't generally want to go back to, but at the same time, I've said before that anyone can ask me anything that is, other than the one thing you fucking can't, which I've explained a bunch of times. But it's more of a it's hmm. Hmm. I feel like if you how do you know if you love someone? I feel like you know you love somebody when they leave. Just simply because back, not even back then, but with her and everything, I need to give her a fucking name that's not her actual name, because saying her is just, it's getting to the point where it's like, it just hurts my brain. I don't know. I'll probably think of something. I don't know. But it's with her and I, when we were together, it's the fact that we were off and on. Because like we were off and on, like how like you know the relationships. I'm sure if you were in high school or in middle school, depending on wherever you went to school, you knew there was a couple that was like that. That was like, oh, they broke up this week, and then they're back together the next week, and then they broke up 2 months later, and then they got back together like a month later. Like shit like that. But I want to say you get to a point where you talk. I feel like you get to a point where you both talk about certain things. You get to a point where you talk about like getting married or like the future together, and it's like it changed. Like your entire relationship your entire relationship kind of changes in the sense of just like it's like you're scared to leave. Like you're scared of them leaving. Which is nothing wrong with being scared of that, I guess. But I feel like when you know that you love someone is when they leave, and you're just like, damn, they were something special. Cause like it's the late night calls, the bunch of the good morning, good night texts, the talking all the time, the sleeping on the phone every day, stuff like that. Like, yeah, that shows that y'all love each other, I guess. But it's not much of a it's not much of a need, if I'm being honest. Love in relationships to me is more of a want. Because think about it. You don't generally need a relationship, you know? I could be wrong. Definitely put in the comments if I am wrong. Y'all put in the comments of one video that I got a bunch of views on and said this was the fucking worst advice ever. But definitely put in the comments if I'm wrong, I guess. But I don't. It's like you can accomplish a lot by yourself. Like I did. I accomplished a bunch. I accomplished I accomplished more given the fact that I was very broken of a person and kind of needed something to kind of keep my mind busy, obviously. But it's you don't necessarily need someone, if I'm being honest, because I, I feel like it's more you love someone when nothing makes sense without them. Like her, for example. Like when she left, I was fine in the beginning. Like there's I want to say there's a meme or something. I'm sure I post it at some point if I can find it again. But it's like it shows the healing process of both male and female. How in the beginning, females are like females are crying and everything, and then the dude is like going out doing this, doing that, and then it goes like it's like that's 1 month, and then it's like 6 months, and the woman is like getting her confidence back, and then for the guy it's like it's all of it is hitting him at that point, and then it's like a year, and she is doing better, and is happy and all that jazz, and then the guy is fully getting the full force of the breakup and everything. Like he's the one that's crying and all that jazz. It's it's swapped in a sense, but I feel that's how you would know if you love someone. It's the fact that when you can think, or not, like even like not even if you think that with like the thought of them leaving wouldn't make like your life wouldn't make sense without them, then I would say that you love them. Just simply because that's how it is for me now, if I'm being honest. Like she left, and since then nothing has made sense. Like if I'm being honest, I'm just here. Like there's nothing. I don't know. I really don't know how to really explain it, if I'm being honest. I'm just here. Like it's like I'm a shadow, basically. Like I just or like a paper bag. I'm just kind of floating, with the wind, not really doing much. I just exist. Like I just don't nothing. Excuse me. Nothing makes sense. Like nothing makes sense without her. Like back then I knew everything I wanted to do. Because no matter what I did, she was always a part of it. Regardless on anything and everything that I planned on doing, she was going to be there. Because it's the fact that I loved her and everything. And it's the fact that I wanted her to be around me not even all the time, but I wanted her to be like involved in the things that I did. But it's the fact that when she left, all of those plans didn't make sense to do anymore. Like nothing made sense, and still doesn't to this day. I don't generally think anything will make sense, if I'm being honest. And it's the fact that, if I'm being honest, I found a a thing that I was typing. I started typing something yesterday that I'm still working on now. It's just, the name of it is just Goodbye Forever. That's the title of it. I'll read it when I'm done with these questions, these 2 questions, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, I want to be happy, but it's like, it's weird because the way I am now is how I've been for years. Literally years. I've been with women before, in high school, middle school, out of those things, But it's the fact that I was never like happy in the sense. Is the fact that she gave me something that nobody really gave me. Because I'm not gonna say that like I'm not gonna sit here and say that like my childhood was to blame or anything, but it was like it's a different type of, not even a different type, because I'm sure someone has gone through it the same way as me, but it was more of a, like, my dad was more of a tough love person, like I gotta get you ready for the real world type of thing. So there was no, I won't say I've talked about this before, I think, but like him being more of a robot than a genuine person until later on. But it was just, I don't know, it just, there was never, it was seemed like more of a dictatorship, but it wasn't like an abusive dictatorship. It was just, I don't know, it was more of a it was not, it was, because it's in fact it wasn't even a verbal one, it was just more of a, because I was back then I was more of a like softer person, obviously. Like I generally cared what my parents like said and everything. And you know, I still care like what my mom says and everything. My dad not so much. But my mom, yeah. I care what she has to say about certain things. But I don't know, back then it was just, I don't know, back then it was just bad, if I'm being honest. But is the fact that I don't even know, like growing up I was just never, like I never felt happy. Like I was happy, it was more or less, I was happy in the moment. I'm always, that's how I more or less am. It's just I was happy in the moment. And it's the fact I was like that for majority of my life, really. But like she brought like she brought something that nobody has ever brought me, which was genuine happiness. Like something I completely gave up on, like years before meeting her. Not even years, it was like probably a couple of months before meeting her. I just completely gave up on it because there was no point. At least there was no point to me. There was no point in me searching for it because it wasn't, I couldn't find it in anything. Like I enjoy playing video games, but I'm not, like, I'm happy playing video games. I'm happy about watching anime, but it's like cool. I guess they're just hobbies of mine. And that's about it. Like they're not, like they bring me joy, but like if I have to go to work, I'm just kind of there. I'm not happy about anything. I'm just there. I'm just like, oh, cool. I have to go to work. Fantastic. Fuck me. Like it's not. There's nothing there. But when she came into my life, it was rocky in the beginning, but at the same time, I feel like it was more of, I don't know. There was there's a certain vibe about her. I feel like it was more of her like, it was more of her caring. It was more of her caring nature that kind of like planted that seed of like happiness in me. Just because she genuinely cared about me, and she was genuinely worried about me, or worried about what I would like, worried about the stuff that like she did, or like not talking to me for a certain amount of time or something. I think that's what it was, because it's like, yeah, my family cared where I was, but like that's just your family. You know, some families don't give a fuck, but you know, my family was more or less, they cared about that, but that's just how my family is. But it's like, I guess it was weird to see a woman other than my mother actually care and actually like explain like, oh, this happened or that happened, because no one genuinely did. Like it was like, oh, you just stop messaging me for, you know, a week or two. What happened? And it's just like, oh, I was busy. Okay, busy with what? And it was the same old, none of your business, or this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, okay. But with her, it was different. It was like she explained everything. Like she literally explained literally each day. It was like she explained every single thing of like where she was, what happened, da, 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 da. But it's just, I don't know. If I'm being honest with the question of how do you know if you love someone, I feel like if you can talk about them the way I talk about her, then I feel like you love that person. Genuinely. If you can seamlessly talk about them for hours, or if you can seamlessly talk about them for hours, then me personally, you genuinely love that person. If nothing makes if nothing makes sense, if nothing makes sense without them, you love that person. If nothing, if you feel like a hollow of a person without them, I feel like you do love that person. Because even if you do fuck up, or you have fucked up, or you did this, you did that, whatever the case may be, and you're genuinely like sorry about everything, then I generally feel like you do love that person. I don't know, that could be me and my feelings I have for her that's talking, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know, it's just that, like, to the ability to talk about somebody that's not yours anymore, but still talk about them in a good light is shows shows passion in a sense. It shows passion, shows like the connection you had with that person. Because most people when they break up, they want to badmouth their ex, or their ex husband or wife or girlfriend, fiance, whatever the case may be. But it takes, I don't know, it takes a different kind of person to kind of to know that there were rocks and there were bumpy roads on the journey, and you know point them out and everything, but to also never also to not also to believe that it wasn't all bad, generally. Because if you if you tune into my um what is it called, my Twitch chat when I'm live, or if you just come around my YouTube chat, like, and you there will be times that you catch me talking about like certain memories that I have. Like the last one was talking about I was mentioning because I want to say I had like an ingrown toenail at some point, but there was just something in my fucking sock. But that spiraled into a whole conversation about like her basically telling me to stop fucking with my toe and everything, just because you know it was bad. It was bad. Basically, to summarize it, I had an ingrown toenail so like years ago. Didn't really think about it at all until one day it was just got to the point where I was like, I need to get this out. So I got some tweezers, I got a knife, and then proceeded to basically do surgery on my foot. Basically, got the ingrown toenail out, and it was just more or less just to get to the ingrown toenail. I had to like basically skin the right side of my toe, the right side of my big toe, and she had messaged me asking me what I was doing. I had told her I was taking an ingrown toenail out of my toe, she asked what, or she said what with a bunch of question marks. So I sent her a picture of my toe, and then she called me. And the thing that pops up the most with that was just her saying, "Stop fucking with your toe." So anytime I think about that, you know, it's a good moment. You know, it's a funny moment. You know, there's a lot of those, a lot of key words that trigger certain memories. And I'm sure there's some words that trigger certain memories with her. I think. I have no idea. I know there's some that trigger some with me. But there's a lot of different ways I feel you can tell someone if you do love somebody. If that person, if the person that you love, if they move on and you can still, and you're still rooting for them to win in life and do good things and all of that, then you love that person. If that person leaves and if that person leaves and they move on and they message you that they need help with something and you actually help them, then you generally do love and care for that person. But there's a lot of different ways to know. But it's more or less of like, I feel like you know in the moment. You'll know when you love someone. The question is, will you be too late or will you be right on time? For me, I realized it too late. But that's just me. It's the fact that no one is like me. I am my own person. So it's the fact that you could be too late, you could be right on time, you could be too early. It's all a matter of you. It's all a matter of you. But I hope that answers that question. Same things before. Leave a comment if that actually does answer the question or not. I don't really know. I want to say it did, but at the same time, certain people ask me questions and I kind of just wing it on what it is that they're looking for. But definitely, if I didn't answer the question the way you wanted, definitely send a comment and I'll redo it, obviously. But let me read that I had. It reads, made this last night. I'm still working on it and everything, but it reads, "Goodbye Forever." That's the title. It says, "I took a long time typing this for I don't know how long, so it'll probably be in parts. But it's not like you're gonna read it, so why even bother? Because I don't want you to think I up and vanished or I ended it. But I don't know, let's be for real. You'll look at it and that'll be it. But anyways, I'm happy for you, and even though I'm not with you anymore, you found someone that gives you the smile that I love so much. And I'm sure you show him the same amount of love, if not more, than you showed me. We had some good memories along with the bad, telling me to stop messing with my toe when I took an ingrown out, helping me aim, which turned into a disaster, the picking on each other when we sound old and or sick, and who could forget our first time meeting? It was so awkward. And much, much more. And of course, Gerald, he's going to do amazing things. What those things are, I'm not sure, but I feel it in my gut. But as crazy or stupid as it sounds, I still have everything you gave me. Because to me it means something. They're relics of my past, and the screw up that was me back then. because I took a caring, loving, good-natured woman and didn't value her because of my arrogance, and lost her heart that I didn't know beated so badly for me. Didn't beated so badly for me to change until it was too late, and it now beats for another. So that's basically what I've written so far. I do plan on writing more, but I don't necessarily know when I will send this to her, if I'm being honest. Because once this is sent, that's basically the end. It really is. At that point, I'm already blocked on everything from her, but at that point, everything will be blocked on my end. But I don't know. I might never send it ever. I don't know. You know, you never know. The world is a very interesting place. You never know. It's the fact that you could lose your job one day and then you could win the lottery the next. Like, there's no way of knowing how the world is gonna go. Like, you could, I don't know, you could have a baby with a psychopath, and then the next you could, win the lottery or something. Like, I don't, like, they're all lottery related because I can't think of anything else, but, it's just, that's just how it is, if I'm being genuinely honest. But, yeah, it's just one of those things. But, I don't know. At some point she did message me at some point. I want to say it was like, I don't even know. Whenever I went to Tampa last with my brother and whatnot, I forget when that was. But whenever that was, she had mentioned if I have to reread the message, but at least to me, she wanted to be friends or try to be friends. Or like she wanted to, I don't know, she wanted to be friends in a sense. Or try to, at least. But I don't know, maybe she backpedaled with that whole thing. I don't know. She had said it and then didn't say anything for like 2 weeks, and then messaged me again about something, and then since then it's been radio silent. So I don't know. But like I said, life is a strange place. It's a strange world. So who's to know? I don't know. It's the fact that her and I could get together and I just completely forget about this, and then she reads it like years later or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a strange. Like, the world is such a strange thing. There's no way to know what your life is going to be. There's no way of knowing like what is going to happen in your life, But hey, you just gotta keep rolling. But yeah, that's the questions. That's basically a little bit of the message that I have for that. I probably won't have updates for it. When I finish it, then I'll read the whole thing, obviously, which it's gonna be fucking long, I know it. But, what can I say? I can't help it. Her birthday is tomorrow. So definitely, when you wake up, tomorrow, definitely just say happy birthday. Obviously not to her, because unless you know her, then, say happy birthday. If not, then, when you wake up, just kind of whisper to yourself, happy birthday, or whatever the case may be. Or under this video, just write happy birthday, or, just whatever it is. But I have a happy birthday message for her that I'll probably read tomorrow. So at least I'm about to finish it, but I'll definitely read that tomorrow as well. So stay tuned for that. I don't know when I will make it and everything, but I'll definitely be making it. So definitely tune into that. Make sure the little, what is it called, bell thing is on, so you get you get notified that I'm live or I've posted another video, so on and so forth. But yeah, that is all she wrote, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace.